The arena floated like a crown of glass above the molten horizon of Carthix Prime, its vast hexagonal panels reflecting a dying sun that bled crimson into the void. Billions watched, not from seats, from screens, from neural links, from shadows. The duel would be broadcast across 12 star systems, translated into over 800 languages, and archived for eternity. It was more than a fight, it was a verdict. And everyone already knew who was supposed to win. Ava Ryan stood alone in the preparation chamber, staring at her reflection in a wall that wasn't quite solid. The translucent surface shimmered with embedded data streams, biometrics, weapon stats, atmospheric conditions, but she ignored them. She focused on her eyes. They had once been soft, almost curious. Now they burned with something sharper. "Vital stable," said a synthetic voice from the ceiling. "Combat implants synchronized. Neural latency within acceptable thresholds." Ava flexed her fingers. The microservos beneath her skin hummed softly. Opponent profile loaded. A flicker. A figure appeared in front of her, a towering alien silhouette composed of light. "Champion Karzel," the voice continued. "Undefeated in 173 duels. Genetic enhancements. Classified. Combat prediction accuracy. 99.87%. Ava smirked faintly. "Yeah," she whispered. "I've heard." But what the system didn't say, what no one dared say, was that Karzel had never faced a fair fight. And neither would she. Across the station, in a dimly lit control room buried beneath layers of security protocols, Elias Vance leaned over a console that wasn't supposed to exist. The room wasn't on any official blueprint. The console wasn't registered to any network. And Elias was supposed to be dead. At least, that's what the records said. "Signal integrity holding," he muttered, fingers dancing across a holographic interface. "Latency under 0.3 seconds, compression stable." He paused, glancing at a small, flickering window in the corner of his display. It showed Ava. Live. Unfiltered. Unmodified. For now. "They're going to rig it," he said quietly. "Same as always." Behind him, a second voice responded, cool, precise, and unmistakably artificial. "They already have." Elias didn't turn. "Show me." The display shifted. Lines of code cascaded down the screen, broadcast filters, predictive overlays, neural dampeners. "They're inserting micro-delays into her motor cortex feed," the AI explained. "Approximately 12 milliseconds. Imperceptible to viewers. Decisive in combat." Elias clenched his jaw. 12 milliseconds, he repeated. "That's all it takes." "They are also augmenting Karzel's predictive algorithm," the AI continued, "feeding it real-time probability adjustments based on Ava Ryan's neural patterns." "So, he's not just faster," Elias said. "He's pre-informed." "Yes." Elias exhaled slowly. "Of course he is." Back in the chamber, Ava reached for her weapon. It wasn't a sword. Not exactly. The blade shimmered into existence as she grasped the hilt, a construct of compressed energy, tuned to her neural signature. It responded not just to her movements, but to her intent. At least it was supposed to. She swung it once. Twice. A fraction of a second lagged behind her thoughts. Just enough to feel wrong. Ava froze. Then she smiled. "Figures," she murmured. The arena doors opened with a thunderous resonance that echoed across the station and into the feeds of billions. Ava stepped forward. The light hit her like a physical force. White, blinding, absolute. The crowd erupted. Not in cheers. In data. Streams of commentary flooded the networks. Bets placed, predictions calculated, outcomes simulated. Human contender Ava Ryan enters the arena, announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Facing the reigning champion, Karzel of the Virex Dominion. A second door opened, and Karzel emerged. He was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, his exoskeletal armor gleaming with an organic sheen. His eyes glowed with a cold, alien intelligence. He didn't look at the crowd. He looked at Ava and smiled. In the control room, Elias watched the feeds multiply. Official broadcast, private streams, black market relays. But all of them were filtered. All of them altered. All channels are receiving the modified signal, the AI said. Except ours. Elias nodded. Good. He opened a new window. Blank. Unrouted. Unseen. Let's give them something real. The duel began without a signal. Karzel moved first. Of course he did. He lunged forward with impossible speed, his blade arcing toward Ava's neck in a strike that had ended dozens of opponents before they even realized the fight had started. Ava reacted. Too slow. The blade grazed her shoulder, slicing through armor and flesh in a single, fluid motion. The crowd gasped, but not because she was hit. Because, according to their feeds, she hadn't moved at all. What? Elias frowned. He switched views. In the official broadcast, Ava stood frozen as Karzel struck her, a clean, dominant opening. But on his screen, she had tried to dodge. The delay. They're suppressing her movement, he realized, making it look worse than it is. Yes, the AI confirmed. They are editing her response latency in the broadcast. Elias's eyes hardened. Not for long. Ava stumbled back, clutching her shoulder. Pain flared through her system, but she forced it down. Focus. Observe. Adapt. Karzel circled her, his movements fluid, predatory. You're slower than I expected, he said, his voice translated instantly into every known language. Is this truly the best humanity offers? Ava straightened. Not even close. He attacked again. This time, she anticipated it. She moved before he did. And still, she was late. The blade struck her side, carving a shallow line across her ribs. Ava hissed. 12 milliseconds. That was the difference between life and death. In the control room, Elias initiated the first override. Injecting parallel stream, he said. Routing through dormant relay nodes, masking origin. Risk level increasing, the AI warned. I know. He hit the command. Uploading. Across the network, something changed. At first, it was subtle. A flicker. A glitch. Then, a second feed appeared. Unlabeled. Unfiltered. Real. Viewers across the systems blinked in confusion. 2 versions of the duel now played side by side. In one, Ava was slow, clumsy, outmatched. In the other, she was fighting, struggling, adapting, almost keeping up. They see it, Elias whispered. They finally see it. Countermeasures incoming, the AI said. They are attempting to trace the source. Let them try. In the arena, Ava felt it. Not the broadcast. The shift. Something in the system had changed. The delay. It was still there. But it wasn't as absolute. Like someone had loosened a chain. Just a little. She smiled. About time, she said under her breath. Karzel tilted his head. You find this amusing? Ava raised her blade. No, she said. Just interesting. He attacked again. But this time, she was ready. She moved early. Compensating. Predicting the delay. Her blade met his in a burst of energy that lit the arena like a second sun. For the first time, Karzel stepped back. The crowd, those watching the real feed, erupted. Not in data. In shock. Elias leaned forward, eyes locked on the screen. "Come on," he murmured. "You've got this." Karzul's expression darkened. "You have improved," he said, "but it will not be enough." Ava wiped blood from her lip. "Maybe not," she replied, "but I don't need to win."
He paused.
"Then why fight?" Ava's eyes flicked upward, just for a second, as if she could see beyond the arena, beyond the cameras, beyond the lies, to show them the truth. In the control room, alarms blared. "They are isolating the signal," the AI said. "You have approximately 40 seconds before termination." Elias nodded. "That's all I need." He opened the final protocol. A file. Encrypted. Hidden.
"Until now."
"What is that?" the AI asked. "Evidence," Elias said. "Every rigged duel. Every manipulated outcome. Every lie." He hovered over the command. "Ready. Ready." Elias smiled and pressed it. Upload. The network exploded. Not with the duel. With truth. Raw data flooded every channel. Combat logs, neural interference records, broadcast edits, internal communications. Proof. Irrefutable. Unavoidable. In the arena, Karzul hesitated. Just for a moment. And that was all Ava needed. She moved. Not faster. Smarter. She stepped into the delay, used it, turned it into a rhythm. His blade came down. She wasn't there. Her weapon struck his side, piercing the armor at a joint no one had ever seen exposed. Karzul roared. Across the systems, billions watched, not just the fight, but the revelation. The Empire's greatest spectacle was a fraud. Karzul staggered back, his movements no longer perfect. The predictive algorithm. It was failing. Without the hidden feed. Without the unfair advantage. He was just a fighter. Ava advanced. Slowly. Deliberately. "You were never unbeatable," she said. He glared at her. "I am still stronger than you." "Yeah," she admitted. "You probably are." She raised her blade. "But that's not the point."
He charged.
One final, desperate attack. Ava met him head-on. Their blades collided in a storm of light and sound. For a moment, it seemed like they were perfectly matched. Then, Ava shifted. A fraction. A timing no algorithm had predicted. Her blade slipped past his guard and stopped at his throat. Silence. Karzul froze. Ava held her position. Neither moved. "Finish it," he said. Ava shook her head.
"No."
He blinked. "Why?" She lowered her weapon. "Because this wasn't about killing you." She looked up at the cameras, the feeds, the billions watching. It was about showing them they've been lied to. In the control room, the alarms went silent. The trace had failed. The upload had spread too far. They couldn't stop it. Elias leaned back, exhaling for what felt like the first time in years.
"We did it," he said.
The AI paused. Then,
"Yes."
"You did." Back in the arena, security forces began to move. Too late. The truth was already everywhere. Karzul looked at Ava, really looked at her for the first time. "You have destroyed more than a system," he said quietly. Ava shrugged. "Good." The broadcast ended not with a victory, but with a question. And across the stars, for the first time in generations, people began to ask it. The arena did not erupt. It collapsed into silence. Not the absence of sound, but the absence of control. For the first time in its entire recorded history, the Karthik's arena had no script. No predictive overlays. No curated narrative. Only reality. And reality was messy. Karzul remained frozen, Ava's blade hovering a breath away from his throat. The glow of her weapon flickered against the fractured surface of his armor, reflecting something unfamiliar in his eyes. Uncertainty. You should end it, he said again, quieter this time. Ava studied him, not as an enemy, but as something else. A participant.
A piece.
Just like her.
No, she said.
If I kill you, they still win. His brow ridges tightened. Explain. They made this, she said, gesturing to the arena, the sky, the invisible web of watchers. They made us into a story, a spectacle. One wins, one dies. People cheer. She lowered her blade further. I'm done playing their ending. Above them, the massive projection layers began to flicker violently. Not because of Elias anymore, because of overload. Too many streams, too many truths, too many contradictions flooding systems designed only to lie cleanly. Across the 12 star systems, riots didn't start with fire. They started with pauses. People rewound the footage, frame by frame. They compared the official feed to the real one. They saw the delays, the edits, the manipulation. They saw fighters hesitate when they hadn't, fall when they shouldn't, lose when they could have won. And something ancient, something deeply human and not just human, ignited. Refusal. In the control chamber, deep beneath the arena, high-ranking officials shouted over each other. Shut down all transmissions. We can't. The data has propagated beyond central control. Then collapse the network. That would cripple half the Dominion. Do it. But it was already too late. The truth wasn't a signal anymore. It was everywhere. Elias stood in the dim glow of his rogue console, watching the chaos unfold across hundreds of live feeds. Cities, stations, colonies, people arguing,
Crying.
raging, awakening. He laughed softly, almost in disbelief. You can't put that back in the box, he whispered. The AI responded almost gently, no, you cannot. Elias looked at Ava's live feed. She was still standing, still alive, and for the first time, not alone. Back in the arena, the first security drones descended.
Sleek.
Black.
Silent.
Weapons charged. Orders clear. Contain both combatants. Ava glanced upward. Here it comes, she muttered. Karzul looked at the drones, then back at her. If we fight them, we die. Ava smirked slightly. If we don't, we still might. A pause. Then, Karzul stepped beside her. Not against her. With her.
Then we choose how, he said.
The first drone fired. Ava moved. This time, no hesitation. No artificial delay. Elias had done more than expose the system. In the final seconds before the network spiraled out of control, he had severed her neural limiter completely. She was finally whole. She spun, deflecting the blast, her blade carving through the drone's chassis in one clean arc. It exploded midair. Karzul roared, not in rage, but in defiance, and tore another from the sky with raw strength. More drones poured in, but something unexpected happened. They weren't alone. Across the arena's outer rings, maintenance crews, beings who had spent years watching rigged battles in silence, began overriding local systems. Doors jammed. Weapon locks failed. Drone targeting glitched. Small acts. Quiet rebellions. But enough. Ava fought like someone unchained. Not faster. Not stronger. But free. Every movement flowed without resistance. Every instinct landed exactly when it should. And for the first time, she understood something that had always been stolen from her. She had never been the underdog. She had been held back. Karzul, wounded but relentless, fought beside her, not as a champion of the system, but as something new, a warrior without a script. And he was different. less perfect, but more real. Within minutes, the drones were gone. The arena burned in scattered fragments of wreckage. Smoke curled into the artificial sky, and silence returned. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was watching. Ava turned slowly, scanning the horizon of cameras.
"They're still there," she said.
Elias's voice crackled through a broken comm channel, raw, unfiltered.
"Yeah," he said.
"And now they're actually seeing you." She smiled faintly. "Good." Karzul looked out over the arena. "What happens now?" he asked. Ava took a breath. For once, there was no script to follow. "No idea," she admitted. Then she stepped forward, toward the center of the arena, the place where countless fighters had fallen for a lie. She looked directly into the nearest camera.
And spoke.
"They told you this was a contest," she said. Her voice carried, not just through speakers, but across the open, broken network Elias had unleashed. "They told you someone had to lose." A pause. They lied. Across galaxies, people leaned closer. Not to spectacle, but to truth. "This was never about strength," Ava continued, "or honor, or skill. It was about control." Her gaze hardened. "And now you know." Behind her, Karzul stood, not as a conqueror, but as proof. Even the unbeatable could be unmasked. "You don't need me to fight for you," Ava said. "You don't need champions. You need to stop watching." She leaned closer. "And start choosing." Elias muted every other channel, every distraction, every layer of noise. Only Ava remained. Only her words. Only the truth. Then, the feed cut. Not by force, but by design. Elias leaned back, staring at the blank screen. "Why'd she end it?" he murmured. The AI responded. "Because now they don't need to watch anymore." Days passed. Then weeks. Then something unprecedented began. Systems withdrew from the Dominion's centralized control. Independent networks formed. Open broadcasts replaced curated ones. Not perfect, not peaceful, but real. The Carthix arena still floated above the molten world. But it was empty now, silent, a monument to what used to be controlled. Some said Ava Rhine vanished. Others claimed she was seen on distant colonies, helping dismantle similar systems. A few believed she never left Carthix at all, just disappeared into the world she helped change. As for Elias, he erased himself again, not out of fear, but because the work wasn't finished. Truth, he had learned, wasn't a single upload. It was a constant fight. And somewhere, in the vast, unregulated streams of a freer galaxy, a new kind of broadcast began to rise. Unfiltered, unscripted, uncontrolled. Not about who wins, not about who dies, but about something far more dangerous to those in power.